You're listening to the BJJ Globetrotters Pirate Radio podcast, brought to you from St. Bart in the French West Indies. We talk jiu-jitsu, traveling, and people who do things a bit different in life. I am your host, Christian Graugard. Welcome to episode 13 of the BJJ Globetrotters Pirate Radio podcast. It's been a few months since the last episode, but in fact I recorded this also at the Iceland camp, just like the last episode with Charles Harriott. I brought my little travel microphone, and while I had a few technical issues with the recording with Charles, this one should be better. Before we get started, this episode is, I wouldn't say sponsored, but I kind of like this project, so I thought I would mention it because it's starting to get more involved in Globetrotters and the camps. My friend Ruan from Ireland, he lives in Germany. He's running this project called The Hero with 1,000 Holds. It's turned into a few things. It really started as he made some historical jiu-jitsu maps, which were super interesting. But it quickly evolved into a podcast where he's doing some really interesting episodes on like historical wrestling arts around the world. And recently it turned into a project of reviving an old Irish wrestling style called collar and elbow. And this resulted in him researching the rules of the style and actually doing a workshop at our recent summer camp in Germany. And he did a workshop on the rules and the kind of the techniques, and then held a tournament or a little competition with super fights. You can look up the project on 1000holds.net. Where you can check the podcast, the maps, and also the collar and elbow project. And if you go onto YouTube, you will also be able to look up Irish collar and elbow and actually see those matches from the summer camp that we did. So what's been going on since the last episode? Not much, I would say, but at the same time, a lot. I recently came back from 2 camps back to back, which were kind of ambitious. I mean, we originally just planned to do the Zen camp in Poland, which is like it's a little bit weird. It's like a Japanese themed camp in a forest in Poland. Yeah, don't ask. It's quite a unique experience, and at some point I got the opportunity to do a camp in Arizona and like in the desert, and the only week that kind of worked out was directly after Poland. So I thought, hey, why not? Let's go from a Japanese village in the forest in Poland directly to Arizona and do a camp in the desert, just to kind of experience that contrast. I must say it was a little bit hard. We're probably not going to do it again. Like, it was a 9-hour time difference, and the jet lag was a little bit tough to deal with for the first few days. But I mean, we had a great time in Arizona, obviously, and it was really cool to do our first camp there. There was 150 participants plus the locals, so it was quite a big one. And yeah, really nice to see a lot of new faces there, a lot of people from that area who hasn't been able to go to the camps before, and now they managed to go and kind of get involved. So that was super fun, and we decided to do it again. But next year, I'm definitely not going to go directly from Poland. So the Arizona camp next year is going to be end of March, which is kind of soon, like it's in 5-6 months. But anyway, the website is already up, so if you want to check it out, it's just bjjglobetrotters.com/camps. Apart from that, it's winter season, which means I'm going to do 2 camps here in St. Bart. The next one is already in less than 2 weeks. Super excited to have some guests on the island again. It's full, the camp. It's 50 people here, so we're going to be super busy. And after that is the winter camp. The classic winter camp is the sixth year of the winter camp, which is the longest running of all camps, purely because I want to go snowboarding every year. So that's why we have to go back there. I really love the place, and it's obviously beautiful in the Alps in the winter. So I'm super excited to go back and do something very different than the other camps the rest of the year. In this episode, I am interviewing a guy that if you train Jiu-Jitsu and you have been online for the last few years, you must have heard about Priit, who is an instructor coming out of Estonia. He started going to the camps a few years ago, and I remember the first camp ever he did was in Belgium, and he had this little group of people just hanging around him at the open mats all the time when he was talking about like his philosophy on teaching and training. And the group kind of grew, and recently he's been to pretty much every single camp to teach, and he has a really interesting approach to jiu-jitsu and to teaching, and I think this is really unique in a time where teaching jiu-jitsu is really something that's difficult unless you're like a celebrity. Unless you're like a competition celebrity or something, it's really difficult to reach people with your like technical instruction. But Priit has somehow taken a few themes of jiu-jitsu, especially like defensive stuff, and kind of repackaged it in a way that people have not seen before. And I think it's really impressive what he's done, and he's fully booked with seminars pretty much for the next at least a year, or I think like the next full year. He's like fully booked every single weekend for the next year, which is quite impressive for someone who doesn't compete and is not like a celebrity in terms of like competition results or anything like that. Because usually when people book someone for seminars, it's often because of the celebrity value more than the actual material. But this guy has managed to become probably the most sought after instructor outside of the jiu-jitsu celebrity world for, I think at the moment, it must be. I can't imagine anyone else teaching that much unless they are like teaching in their own affiliations or something. So anyway, I talked to Priit for a good hour in Iceland, and I'll just leave you with the interview, and then I'll be back afterwards. Cheers.
Cheers.
Priit, welcome to the podcast.
Happy to be here. Edge of the world.
Yes. This is the second interview I managed to do at the Iceland camp. I thought a beer was appropriate because that kind of symbolizes the beginning of our relationship when I was really drunk all the time. I think so.
When was that?
You remember when I came to all the camps in Estonia back in the days?
Oh, you mean old days? Okay.
13 years ago or something.
Yes, the Danish people that came to camp never trained. Never is not much to say, but you trained as little as possible. You rented the house, and so.
It's funny because it's true.
Yeah, we were all envying you in that sense, rich Danes. So.
No, this was before. Was this before the euro? I think it was still really cheap in Estonia.
I have no clue.
Yeah, I came with the thought that I was going to train a lot, and I was young, strong, didn't know. I felt like my jiu-jitsu was pretty much unbeatable, and then I remember I came to Estonia, and I realized, oh damn, I have a lot to learn. Like I need to be way better at I need to know much more about wrestling and like posture and like I noticed how you guys had like a really kind of scientific approach to everything, like really methodical. And I remember how much it hurt, because I started training a lot, and like Martin just absolutely, he like squeezed every bit of confidence out of my body.
That's what it does.
Yeah, and there was a few other guys, and there was you. I remember I met you, and of course Stone-faced Priit.
Yes.
I was like, Christian, do you want to roll? I remember I was teaching a few classes, and it was super intimidating because you and Martin and a few of the other like really good guys were like sitting on the side and like talking or just watching and not following the class, but kind of looking. And I felt like, oh damn, they're judging me for my poor technique.
Probably did. Probably
and
did.
I'm like, oh no, I don't know what I'm talking about here. And I was like, damn, that's so intimidating. And then you're like, let's roll. And I remember someone said just before, like, yeah, sure, let's go, Priit. And I was like you were kind of a big guy at that point. You didn't do the fast. You're like
pretty strong. Maybe I just remember you as being like big.
I've been up and down all the time.
Anyway, I remember someone says he's gonna take your back and armbar you from the back. and I was like, okay. And that's exactly, you did it like 5 times. It just absolutely like destroyed me. And you went so hard and so strong. I just had no answer whatsoever. And then I looked at your face and we shook hands, and that little smile and nod like, like disapproved. And I was just like, oh my God, this guy's such an idiot.
Yes.
He has like, he thinks I'm a complete fake.
I was just about to ask that. What did I do back then? But when you said armor from the back, that was my thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I have a lot to learn. So anyway, that was our introduction. And then we found out that Estonia is a pretty funny place. You know,
Yes.
it's a pretty funny place to go out.
It's all in its all seriousness.
Yeah,
It's yeah.
it's a pretty funny place. People are kind of nice. You know, it's fun, and it was very light, and it felt very. I was surprised because I thought it would be more like Russian, in a way. That was just like my complete prejudice, thought about it, because I'd never been to that corner of the world. And then I come there, it's like, oh, it's kind of like Scandinavia. It's like a little bit kind of Swedish, Finnish style. The buildings look, and then like people are kind of the same, and it's light all night. And like, oh, damn, let's have a beer, and then. And that's how the Estonian camps ended up being just like party trips for me and my friends.
How many time you came? Like
3,
you
4
guys,
times
yeah,
or something at least.
you Danes were coming.
Yeah, and to be fair, I always brought a lot of people there, and a lot of them trained, but
Yeah.
just not me. You know, I was like,
Yeah, you were always like bringing people, and I guess back in the day it was nice that somebody traveled and we had somebody to roll with. And
yeah. I also remember another episode, maybe the second or third time I was there, and we had this really nice barbecue in someone's house. I remember I was doing like a salmon, like a whole salmon. He was like, this is so cheap in Estonia, let's buy an entire salmon. And you were super drunk on vodka. Like, this was the first time I seen you really drunk. You were just like downing a bottle of vodka or something. And you're sitting on a chair in the middle of the garden with everyone around us. And at some point you called me out. Like, when you were pretty drunk, you're like, Christian, come here. It's like what?
Okay.
What Priit? And it's like you come here and don't even want to train. And I'm like, and I remember I said, yeah, but I actually never said I came here to train. And you're like, oh, okay, that's right, that's true. And then that kind of settled it in a way.
yeah, it's facts, That
Yeah.
always been fascinated with facts, and it was like, yeah, I was wrong. Yeah, you didn't say it, so I can't judge you, so to speak.
Anyway, that was an interesting kind of. We had an interesting start of our relationship, and then some time went by. How did I catch up with you again?
I don't know, because
Many years
I
later.
remember always like Martin in the Estonian camps. I think Martin.
I invited Martin to Denmark many
yeah,
times.
You're getting along with Martin, and I don't know.
He had more jokes, Priit.
Yes. I don't say we don't get along, but yeah, we didn't hook up or something.
We're not initially compatible.
Yes. But then I was also, I met you also, and I was teaching in previous Rumble Sport that was next to the CSA.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you
I was a month or something. I was there.
Yeah.
Next to you with Thomas Lacour.
That's right.
And I think I met you there also. You had the CrossFit gym below. I saw that place. You were up.
Yeah.
And I guess, we had some chit chat, and
Yeah.
and for me, I think I said it before. I think, or we said it to each other before, in some form. That I think the Globetrotters and everything kind of. Actually, after that, I understood you more.
Yeah.
Before, I didn't get you.
I was just a young guy showing up wearing sunglasses at night and drinking all night. We had a good time.
Yeah, because I don't know how it actually started. I don't know why I messaged you, or can I come to the camp? Or it was even I left SPG like last year.
Right.
But that was 2017.
Yeah.
So
We talked about that before you left. Yeah, we were kind of on the same, because I was part of the SPG for a while, but that's like many, many years back. But in that sense, we're kind of in the same kind of.
Yeah. Your videos with Matt were Denmark stuff, aliveness and everything.
Yeah.
They were very popular in our group in Estonia. They were one of the first clips and stuff, and made sense, and so everybody kind of knew you.
Yeah, I think a few years back, I don't know, but you were doing something, and it was kind of interesting. Who was I talking with? I don't remember. But I remember I was thinking, because like we were thinking, oh, that Priit guy, it's difficult to get along with, kind of, you know. And remember I was thinking, and then it was maybe a point where I was thinking like, I've been trying to do this about like keeping really an open mind towards everyone I meet, and treat everyone as a potential next best friend. That's like how I try to live my life. You know? And I think I was been thinking a lot about that, like in periods, and thinking, okay, so who have I kind of left behind in a way? Like, is there anyone that I didn't give a chance or something? And then I kind of catch up on some people, you know, and like say, hey. And sometimes I message someone I haven't talked to in years, and they say, how are you doing? I can see if maybe some ideas pop up. And I think I was in a period of that. And then you were like doing some video or something. I don't know. You did something that went like slightly viral in a way, or you're doing a seminar. And that's when I messaged you. We got to look back through the messenger conversation. But I think I just said, okay, let me try and message this guy, see if he wants to come. So I think it was one of those where like, I just think, did I lose someone on the way that I could have given a chance? Like, what if I approach someone with a different mindset? And I'm like, hey, Priit, I like what you're doing. Like, why don't you, do you want to come and maybe try to be part of the camps one day and see how it goes? And I think initially you were a little bit like, meh. I don't think you were initially like super excited about it. Or maybe that's just how I felt about it.
Yeah, I don't know why I have that kind of selective memory. I have no clue. But if somebody would ask again, like, why did you join or why did you felt to join? I don't know.
Like Globetrotters or?
Yeah, Globetrotters are gone, yeah. So because probably I was feeling like, you know, drifting a little bit then. And I guess the Globetrotters also to me a little bit, I've seen it, what you guys do. And, you know, from outside, I think it looks kind of appealing also.
Yeah.
That all the pictures and stuff.
But it also looks kind of not too serious in a way, which doesn't really usually attract you. I would say that would probably what people would think doesn't attract you.
Yeah, but somehow we were, let's say, both ready or something. for each other. Yeah. Because in that sense, I've used it all the time, but you know, there has to be a God because it's a joke in that sense. Because everything happened to me, like I got a gym. You know, this actually in August, there's 2 years.
Yeah.
I got a gym. So literally 2 years ago, I started my first camp was 2017 in Copenhagen. So 2 years ago, I got a gym. Then it was, you know, DVDs, then this, and then, you know, I'm traveling all weekends are booked. So kind of everything happened in a really, I don't know if I worked for it, if I did it, or everything has clicked, you know. Finding Globetrotters kind of solved so many problems that I have, and the exposure, everything, DVDs and stuff, and getting along with people, and it's a certain like maturity or something, I don't know, that... Yeah, because back in I can also say like I wanted to have like a better communication with you, but I didn't know how.
Right.
Because I didn't have anything in common or something to talk about, you know.
Exactly.
And then it's as a socially, I have really hard time opening up.
Yeah.
And just to talk about, you know, the air.
Yes.
It's very hard for me to talk about air. And then it's like, you know, Martin was kind of more open and socially, and I think that he's younger also and more than your age or something.
Yeah.
So kind of like...
Yeah, he fit in really well with the whole like...
So because I was there in Rumble Sport next to you when he was teaching in your gym.
That's right, yeah.
So I met him, I know. He was teaching some of the unsweepable and stuff. And I was like always like, kind of, because I knew you from SPG and stuff, and kind of, I always want to like get along and, you know, because you were doing interesting things. And I was like, God damn it, it's very hard for me. And then I didn't push it because, you know, seems that everything, there's a right time or something.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned, so to speak, from life so far. You just have to be...
I think maybe, as I see it, just from the outside, I think maybe there's been kind of a kind of a switch in karma. Just how I like completely subjectively have kind of observed you over the last many years. There's kind of a switch in karma where before I saw you as a very kind of closed, kind of arrogant, maybe even like nothing in common. And then there's something that switches where you start to give things away and you start to give things to people. And you use kind of your way of thinking to give people something that is not necessarily, you know, they pay for or whatever. You just kind of, you manage to kind of send out something out of your little cave of being, I don't know, closed in, kind of difficult to approach. Something comes out that's kind of, I think I can kind of use the term genius because nobody else has been thinking kind of in this angle on some of these things. and people are like, wow, this really helps me. You know, like this has been a huge help in my game, and I understand jiu-jitsu much better. And I see once you start like giving that away, like you could karma is maybe not the right word, but you know, you do something nice for a lot of people suddenly, and they feel like, oh damn, Priit is helping me a lot. And then you see the whole tide turning, and you plant all these seeds of helping people, and things happen. As you say, you start traveling all the time and make DVDs.
Yeah,
or whatever.
it has been a definitely ride. And I thought this all communication and everything. So people have also said to me that knowing me 2 years ago, knowing me now, so this has been for my personal development.
Yeah.
Been very, very good.
Yeah, that's very. I'm getting tired of the jokes of Priit is pretty smiling. You know, that's an old joke now because that's many camps ago in a way. You know, like
yeah. So I'm very happy where I'm at the moment. So yeah.
But do you feel like there's something? Is it a cultural thing, or maybe something in your upbringing, or I don't know? Because we come from very different places in a way, or like very different kind of. I imagine we had a very different childhood. Like you and me in a way.
I think it is like a culture, and also I don't know how much those personality types, but I'm.
I mean, you're not far from Finland, which is where people don't talk unless they're drunk.
Let's say I never had in some classes I had, but in a school I never had the table, the school, you sit behind the table in the school.
Yeah.
I never had a partner.
Okay.
I mostly from the first grade I sat alone.
Okay.
So I was very kind of introvert, and I found my voice when I played basketball. Mm-hmm. I was very good at this, and that was kind of my expression of myself, and that's how I find friends or whatever.
Yeah.
But I played alone. I always had a visualization of Indians and cowboys, and played a little bit and here and always kind of talking to myself, and in that sense, it's been hard always. Like that's why my dad also, I think, pushed me to martial arts because he wanted to make a man out of me because I'm a little bit bullied, not too much, because I had a very hard time finding friends. And but if I did something, I kind of committed, like martial arts and stuff, and then I social group behind it and everything else. Yeah. So I think something I was not easy to get along, kind of more inward, and like I have very hard time, for example, putting myself in people's. Like how people see me or people's shoes, like how I perceive myself. Super hard time. Yeah. And like
it's very obvious that there is a.
Yeah, and a very hard time understanding people like social behavior. How you act. Yeah. And what signals you give. I have no clue.
Yeah. But I think I know a lot of people in jiu-jitsu with like a social handicap like this, like a lot, because I think jiu-jitsu attracts a lot of people like that, because you can still kind of function in a society, quote unquote, on the mats, where you don't have to understand all the.
And this jiu-jitsu discussion when you roll, then it's like a conversation. It's like I like it. It's like a puzzle.
Yes.
But it's just to say about things and just to understand. When people talk about when we roll, then I get their social how they do their things. I understand. But if there's a distance and we talk, I was like. What do you mean? What this mean? Yeah. It's like mostly it's just I don't know. You have to tell me, Priit. Yeah. Now I think about this. Yeah. So that for me is super hard. I have no clue why.
I see at the camps a lot of people come to the camps who they're kind of attracted to the camps. Maybe they're socially like awkward or they have a hard time socially at home, and then at the camps they can kind of start at scratch in a way. Like there's nobody knows that it's difficult for them, and they can kind of. Wipe their board clean, and then they can start that week. And actually, someone told me at one camp. I'm not going to name the name, but because the person's actually here this week. Someone told me at the camp. At home, I don't talk to anyone the entire year, but at the camp, I just can't stop talking.
It is weird because, the martial arts gyms has always been escape room for nerds. Yeah. They get bullied in school. They have no social group, no friends. They come to the gym. I love when nerds come to the gym and you see they're like. They don't get along with people, but then there's martial arts, and then you teach them stuff, and they open up and they get better and they talk about it, and they're fine. I love when people like let's say suffer and they come and they struggle, they get better, and you see them, they start to socialize more, and they're not bullied here, and they're more like okay, I praise you when you do good things, and I really think that camps are also for many people that kind of. They need a voice or something, like they need same-minded people that maybe in their social group there's nobody that understands jiu-jitsu, who do you talk to? That's only what I do. In some way, I'm not good in politics, and something. And sometimes when there's nothing to talk about with other people. I don't have bank loans and stuff, and then it's like you just sit. I can, I guess, philosophize or something with people and argument and stuff. But sometimes I also like to hear with other social groups and home to just sit and see. But I can't talk alone because the only specialization I have is like, you can't take my back.
Yeah.
So, and the value of talking to them about that is like zero or something. They don't get it. So I really appreciate the camps and stuff. And I don't know, that's the reason that I do them so much, but I guess I enjoy it really. I actually thought about quitting camps after third camp, I don't know if you know that.
No.
Because if I say it, I didn't get the result that I wanted.
Right.
It's not wrong, because I didn't know what I wanted out of those camps.
Okay.
I did a Denmark, Leuven, Heidelberg, and then nothing happened, And I don't know where my hopes were or whatever it was. And then I was like, I didn't feel it, it's kind of cold because of me also, the way I was. And then I was like, if I do it, I'm probably not going to do it. And then the camp came again. I missed the winter camp. And then next year after that, I did, I think, a Leuven, whatever it was. And I was like, shit, there was actually something there, I do it again. And in second year, everything happened.
Yeah.
So I was almost like, shit,
So maybe the camps were the same, but something changed, like in your approach to it. Maybe.
So I'm really happy. I sticked around, and now it's like it's very much fresh air coming here, and it's very strange that for me it's easy. I'm an instructor coming all the camps, and I see all the people, but so many people even in this camp are first timers.
Yeah.
So I thought camps are like, okay, you see so many people again and again and again, but actually I ended up meeting so many new people all the time.
Yeah.
So that's been actually super great. Yeah, I was actually amazed at how many new people come to camp and how many old timers actually there are.
Yeah, there's a lot of new here. And often when people come back to camp, they try the different camps. So they have a lot to choose from.
Somebody actually asked me, which camp you recommend? I was like, well, if you go like, let's say Heidelberg, Estonia, St. Bart's, Sen, they all have their things.
Right.
I really like a Heidelberg camp and, St. Barth. I always go like, if you want to have a Maldives-like vacation, St. Bart's. And it's all the money, it's worth the money. And Zen camp is like awesome, Yeah. So every camp has their kind of thing that's why you would just, okay, you have to take this camp. Yeah. So it's really well, like really, really well kind of spread out, and they all serve a purpose. It's kind of, in that sense, it's very weird you have managed to do that. So.
Yeah. So I think for me, at least, the camps are also kind of socially overwhelming. It's like there's so many people to meet and stuff. But even I come from, like, as I say, I had a different starting point than you. I started with like huge social circle. I've always been very social, and now it's overwhelming. So I can't imagine like if you say you had a upbringing of being kind of more alone, and then starting to do this, it must be a big like change.
Yeah. So I always kind of for me, it's always flattering, the guy. Because I was always kind of sad because, in a way, I'm happy on in Estonia. I like that, European stuff and cheap and Scandinavian kind of area. But for me, to be a black belt in Estonia and jiu-jitsu coach, you kind of, you don't get to the world.
Yeah.
Because you're competing with all the good guys.
Yeah.
I was feeling also, I don't know, some pressure or something that only way I will make it as a jiu-jitsu guy and can do this for a living is when I have original idea.
Yeah.
And you can't just go like, I wish I have a, you just it doesn't happen like that.
Yeah.
You just, and now looking back, I'm really, really happy that I've, have done something original.
Yeah.
And I can do what I do. And the camps are like, the producing and the exposure and everything. But it's, yeah. So I think the loneliness and all this introvert kind of helped me to come up with all this. So
I think so too, because it's
everything kind of
what you've done is obviously not normal in a way.
yeah.
But it's funny because I actually have many people say, like people who has known you for years, they always say, "Oh, Priit has changed so much," and then people who hasn't known you for years, because for instance at the US camp, there are a bunch of people saying, "Christian, next time I'm coming, 100% you must put me in Priit's cabin because he's like the funniest guy ever. His humor is so good." Like, and that's like very different from how I.
Yeah, because we had a US camp was, I don't know if I say social the best camp, it's weird, but we had one of the best like for me personally, one of the best cabins or social groups. We had 5 people. We had Canadian, we have US, and we had some military. Yeah, not naming names, and the conversations, I was thinking I missed the bonfires in Zen camp.
Right.
Because I was fasting and everything. I was like, just want to go to sleep. So I missed the bonfires, and I was like, okay, in this camp, I want to do a bonfires because it's a social thing, and let's go. And then we ended up talking in every evening in our cabin till the 12 or 1 a.m. and then went to sleep. I was like, this is so awesome. And yeah, so somehow kind of we all clicked there. And
I think that the social aspect of putting like 150 adults in the forest with very bad Wi-Fi in little cabins, that's like a social like absolute explosion, in a way.
And why we started to talk, if somebody asks why you started to talk and what, I have no clue. We talk about politics, Canadian Prime Minister, what he has not done, then some military stuff. Some guy was saying, Priit, you be good in the hood, and that was one of the funniest guys, and a really, really funny guy and educated and stuff. So I was like, there was just full of people. I was like, God damn it. Yeah, I don't know, everything kind of seems to go together. So yeah, I'm happy. And this Icelandic second camp is right now way definitely different than the first one. So.
Right.
So yeah.
And obviously you've been kind of creating some material. I mean, I don't want to talk too much jiu-jitsu, but you've been creating some kind of original jiu-jitsu material that really clicks with people. See, I started using your term, so it clicks.
Yeah.
And I mean, I learned so much from it myself, and I really think it's a big help. But the most fascinating thing about this is that, as you say, you came from your Estonian black belt. You compete with the world, and I think probably now you must be the busiest seminar guy in jiu-jitsu in the world at the moment, probably. I don't know.
Yeah, if you say,
I don't think you can't be any busier.
No, I can't be. I can't. I guess I can have. I can travel during the week also.
Right.
But then I would lose, let's say, love of my life. Yeah. Because I'm happy I have a home after this traveling and everything. Because, like I call it, hashtag team suffer. We have made a commitment that 2 years we will suffer and we will not, argue and don't whine about it. But if you say busiest, I know that, let's say Greg Jones, if he travels for a weekend, he has 6 seminars because he does 3 hours. I usually go like one place and, 8 hours.
Yeah.
But,
But there's also celebrity value. I mean, you're doing what, I would say you're doing what almost no one can do, is to actually sell technique. Because that is something that you really cannot sell in jiu-jitsu anymore. The main product in jiu-jitsu is like social recognition. It's like training with famous people or training with someone who might promote you. And you're kind of none of that.
I haven't thought about that way, but I guess it's a little bit is true, yeah.
Because who sells technique? It's free on YouTube. Even your stuff, we put it up for free. So there's something there. You did something that nobody managed to do. And you're traveling pretty much non-stop for...
Yeah, there's Globetrotter camps. There's my camp in Estonia, and every other weekend, end of the year, I go to Sivara in Bangkok, see Danimal in Taiwan, but mostly every weekend it's booked.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a funny story. I was like, it didn't happen in the first year. Half year was done, and then the full year is gone now. 2018 went, and then 19 is totally booked. So a year and a half it took, and then I started to take bookings, and okay, this and this weekend, then okay, another guy was interested, and I was like, God damn it, it's like looks so weird that the whole year is getting like, it's a weird trend, and then suddenly like, oh shit, guys, in one weekend, and people didn't believe it. It's a marketing trick. Oh, I only have 2 weekends left, book it. So some people actually thought I was like screwing with them, like you're pressuring them to a booking. I was like, no, I actually have only 2 weekends left.
Yeah.
They were like, oh shit. Because I know Swedish guys were like, I went to Sweden in May now.
Right.
And they were like in January or something. Oh, Priit, I see you getting booked. Oh, book us in May right away. I was like, yeah, I'm not joking. It's like, it's so weird, and the next year seems to be the same. January is I think gone. February is gone. March is 1 weekend left only. I think April is half or something, and it's gonna be the same thing. We'll see how long I do it. This traveling thing, maybe next year definitely, and then market has to be regulated with prices and stuff, and probably have to do less and have a choice, but. Like one of the good friends and when my partner, gym owner Vallo, has said, it's very good in life. You're in a good place in life when you have choices.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm happy that I have choices, and in some people I have to left out, and now it's booked already, and so yeah, it's very crazy.
It is kind of crazy, and it's really crazy because, as I said, like people will usually pay for two kinds of seminars. They will pay for one kind of seminar, social recognition. It's either someone who's famous, so they can take the picture with that guy, and then if that guy comes back like a month later, nobody's going to show up for the seminar, no matter how good the material is. Or it's like if you're in an affiliation and like the sensei of the sensei is coming and he's in charge of the promotion evaluation, then people will show up because they might climb the social ladder in that community. Those are the seminars. I've been selling seminars for many years, like back in the days. So I know this is what people want to pay for. But you're not doing that. I mean, you're a celebrity, but I don't think people sign up for the celebrity value. It's not because they want to take a picture.
But I'm also honest, because I tell people that you have to work with me. I have what I can give you. I'm not teaching arm bars from the guard. If I come to that, I will not stop doing jiu-jitsu, but stop doing seminars. But I tell people, like, you have to work with me like twice a year, maybe full weekends, 3 years in a row or something. And then I can give you what's my specialty, and then we'll see what happens after, what you're interested of. So I give them honestly 3 years. Ask me twice a year, give me a weekend, and then I can do my the escaping stuff, and I can give you what I know, and after that you can do whatever you want. And usually I find another club, and so I keep doing what I'm doing, always adding on new details. But I'm usually honest with people, and some people have actually been surprised that I was like, after 2-3 years, if I don't have anything to do and anything to new or something, about the Hawkings and all the running mans, and I don't want to come because I don't want to just do the seminar because I have to do the seminar.
This is when you have to do gradings and diplomas.
Yeah.
Keep them around.
And I think also that the attitude, sometimes people like it because I don't try to milk you out of money.
Yeah.
But I know what I'm good at, and I can prove it, and I can give it to you, and I want return exchange of
commitment. In a way,
commitment, yes, and really invest in me, and yes, I will give it. I will make you better in that area, and that's it. Then we move on, and you can do whatever you want with that. So, and that's really like I'm selling packages.
Yeah.
And I think and then usually we're developing relationship, and now some people are asking what you do in top, because you never showed any class top. I was like,
right.
I guess I have a good top because people see me doing, but I don't want to do it because it's missing.
Yeah.
Everybody else can do top also.
Yeah.
So I'm not usually pushing the top game so much, but I guess I have my opinions in there, and so we'll see.
So now you're pretty much traveling nonstop. I remember I've been giving you as a gift this lounge card membership, and you're the one who's definitely been using it.
It helps a lot.
More than anyone else. Like we're down to probably a few euros per lounge visit, and now you're traveling all the time, pretty much, right? Like the whole year, you're nonstop on the road. You didn't travel much before you started doing all this, right? I mean,
I traveled. I think my trip was usually I went to in SPG. Usually I went to States in April. Mm-hmm. In some point I went there 3 months, some point 2 months. So that was my escape. And my gym wasn't that big, so me going away was also giving people more money, so to speak. So I didn't take anything for me. I was also my good friend Daniel Beckfeldt in Sweden, Norrköping. Mm-hmm. I was also traveling in many summers. I lived with him in Sweden. I went to Sweden to teach in his gym, and Ronald, my YouTube video friend, was teaching for me, and could live from that and everything else. So I left because they would have a better life, so to speak, because it was harder at first. And then so I've been traveling and that much, but not in so many places.
Right. Now, without going into like too many, there's not necessarily obviously no politics or anything, but you're now unaffiliated, so to say.
I guess.
Like you're kind of on your own in a world where the whole business of jiu-jitsu is pretty much built on affiliation, especially the seminar business is really like driven by this kind of you're part of this, so you better invite this guy in a way, like mm-hmm. to uphold your status with this person, so you can one day be promoted and then climb the pyramid. But how do you feel like this is working so well for you now without being involved with anyone?
I guess in here, whatever the way I do it, whatever, I feel more appreciated. I think I have a voice, and people don't block me actually or something. You know, I can travel around freely, gym to gym. I think with the former organization, I guess I wasn't that free, and I wasn't that like people were inviting me left and right, and I didn't felt it, so to speak. And I guess maybe why my ideas also were a little bit more raw, so to speak. They wasn't ready, and maybe acceptance and everything else. And I think also the way I was as a person and everything else. So I think I had to come together, or everything had to work. So yeah, and right now, I think only thing was why you would, like you have said, like why you would be affiliated is like you compete under, and you get information and belts and stuff. So a little bit, after you get a black belt, you actually are free a little bit, yeah?
Yeah.
You can promote your own things, and we're kind of, let's say, affiliated to Globetrotters. So only because technically that's the allowance to compete.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the
Which
back.
is already kind of silly that you need allowance to.
Yeah. So that's a backdoor to all the system, and that takes care of that. So people can compete under Globetrotter, and I will never get team points, whatever. It was so small, like one club. So that takes care of that, and like everybody can be their own man, their own identity. And you don't need to be affiliated, and you work with the people you want, you bring in people you want something special, like something speciality somebody has, you bring them in, and it kind of seems very natural when you're already inside and you do this thing, but it doesn't feel like, let's say if you're a part of something else, it doesn't feel so natural.
Right.
But when you have done it, you feel like, yeah, but like, not if somebody is affiliated, it's not a like bad thing, but if like it's talking to me, it's like, yeah, I don't know why I would do it any other way.
Right.
Because, okay, I can compete, my guys can compete, every tournament is open, everything is good, so that's covered. I can give black belts and everything else, that's covered. And then I can do my own business, so to speak. So, and I work with people I want and cross-train as much as I want, or there's nobody's looking, oh, you have to bring those guys in. It's like, sounds silly.
It's literally like everything you want from an affiliation without the business aspect.
Yeah, so, and I know the affiliation thing is actually quite silly, because
Everybody's taking pictures of us, Priit.
I know.
Like, look at these two best friends hanging out.
Because affiliation thing is silly, because in many cases I've asked people like you who are affiliated, that what you get for it. Let's say if you're like want to open a McDonald's franchise, they give you recipes. They train you, and they give you business side. They probably, they give you everything, so you don't have to work. Figure this out on your own. And but a lot of times, what I feel it's. I think they should change it. I'm not against affiliation. If somebody wants to do it,
Yeah, it's not necessarily a bad thing at all.
Yeah, it's not. I'm not against it. But I was trying to realize that the ridiculous amount of money you pay, and the literally nothing you get. It's like, okay, give me curriculum, give me actually stuff. Let's manage risks. If I have a hard time, you as a corporation manage risks, and it has to be something, like a franchise. And then it will make really much sense, even more sense. So why not? You have a support, and you have a curriculum and information and teaching coaches and, everything, making people smarter and better in business, and why not? So I think some organizations have started to do that and build that value, but I don't think it's there. People still, I think, feel too much that it's just, I'm this, I can have this money, and it's just money from the ground, just pay it. It's like, you pay it just using the logo or whatever,
I think maybe you sorry for interrupting.
No.
I think maybe also you're kind of, as you say, you understand facts. Like you maybe you don't see the emotions sometimes, and an affiliation is literally the main product is the social recognition.
I guess
it's that you put someone's name on your stuff, and then it becomes recognized in a way.
I don't. Yeah.
And of course the whole belt system, the whole hierarchy thing is kind of a huge part of it. Imagine affiliations where you said, okay, yeah, sure, you can compete, and you can we'll come and teach you and help you with everything, and you pay them this. We're never going to promote you. There are no such thing as belts, and you can't use our logo for anything. Who would pay for that? that's not a product. That product does not exist for a reason.
Because I think, let's say, being affiliated and you use that name and then you see somebody twice a year.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be rude, but I think some people will take it rude. If I see somebody twice a year, is he my coach?
No, absolutely not.
So that's why I usually say honestly, like all respect and everything, I guess, that coached me or tried to coach me. I'm self-coached. I was most of the time on my own trying to figure out. And YouTube helped, DVDs helped, people I guess I worked with helped, and but I'm self-taught. And the coach is somebody you grow into, like not every day, but you know what I mean. And that's you kind of like a coach who knows you, and I think the recognition part, I guess it's pays a part. Like this name, and I'm under this, and you have a patch on the back and a famous name. But how many times you actually train under him or know him, or he has actually helped you, or and that famous name doesn't mean that you actually are that good, has the famous name. So for me, it's always been hard taking pictures. I think one picture I've taken is like Conor McGregor, because I knew him like when he was not famous and everything, which was back in the day. But it's very hard for me taking pictures with people just because of pictures.
Yeah.
And it's just so weird. It's like I cannot be if I go to Iceland, I don't want to be in any picture. Like me in a mountain, me in there, me in there. I was like, I'm just taking pictures of stuff. And usually my girlfriend is like the one that's just, come to the picture now, just take a picture together now. It's like, it's so weird to be there.
Right.
It's, so.
But I guess if you look at like, for most people, how much of time and money do they invest in like social recognition? Like, how much do you buy a certain car over another because it shows that you're someone, or a watch, or a clothes, or the food you eat, or something, right? I mean, affiliation is kind of the same thing in many ways, because as you say, they're definitely not your coach. Like, unless they're there every day, those people are not going to be your actual coach.
I guess I would say I also have,
I'm generalizing.
So I'm not saying if somebody is listening, I'm not saying I don't need social recognition. I think that would be very wrong to say.
Yeah.
But you have to understand the right context of it, that it can be taken to the extreme in some affiliation times, and it can be used,
I think that's the key. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think it's healthy to step back and see it for what it is.
Yeah, definitely. I like also wearing, nice things and stuff, and it makes me feel good, and those things are not bad. But there has to be a value in that sense. You have to understand why you like those things and what they give you, and some people can go overboard with also branding and just wearing only Armani,
Yeah.
That's what we like. That's weird. But if you have some things, that's good. But if you only go over the board and everything that's kind of like, you're doing it too much, So in that sense, the affiliation definitely can be, I'm, but it's also, I think in business-wise, it sometimes helps that when you have a certain name, people Google it, and if you are in a very competitive area.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, so in that kind of name draws in more people, and that paying that money for them maybe pays off,
It definitely makes sense depending on what kind of environment you're in.
Yeah, but 3D, I think in Estonia, people know me in a martial arts circus definitely, and SPG kind of never was that famous, so people knew Conor,
Yeah.
But for me, like 3D is so well established brand in Estonia,
Right.
So usually I just sticked around, and I've done so many things. I've been a Wing Chun coach, Tai Chi coach, and I've done so many things, and I thought just a random thing is, I don't think I wanna franchise my thing. People are actually asked that, do you want to franchise it? 3D, some other city in Tallinn. I was like, no, do your own thing. I can help you,
Yeah.
I can help you to do jiu-jitsu and everything else, but I'm not gonna brand out, because then I have to provide, and everything kind of make it on a paper, and everything that's in my head, I have to put it on a paper so you could actually do it. It's kind of hard to me.
It's very much the same by the way, for the listeners. There's someone playing Priit's old favorite sport in the
Yes,
background. So
basketball.
he might go down and show them how it's done in a second once we're done.
Yeah, they don't seem to be good at it, so. At all.
Let me teach you.
Yeah.
Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, it's the same with the camps. Like, people say, why don't you franchise this and like do camps every single week around the world, but it won't work if I'm not there. You know? And I think the same you say, if you're not there all the time, then
Yeah, that's why also the franchises are weird because you're not there.
Yeah.
That's actually very well put, because that's why those affiliations usually are justifying their traveling, because I come there once or twice a year to see how you're doing, you know, and to see if the gym is the way it should be. You know?
Yeah.
So I really feel if somebody goes some other town, I don't know what you're doing.
No.
It's better that I don't like you, put my name on it, you know? So do your own thing and I will support you and everything is good. And you have different ideas and logos and stuff and I don't mind. And then we can say we work together, but that's about it, you know? And I think sometimes people also feel it, let's say, it's easier to take, let's say, 3D, you know? You don't have to do yourself that all day. But no, I think it's harder. Figure out your thing, build your own brand. I will help you, and in the end, it actually benefits you more, and you're more independent to move on. Or if we, in some point, don't get along, you move on. Your own thing, your identity. You work in that region. It's a harder start, but it benefits you more in the end.
Right. So you're not planning on doing any Priit Jitsu association.
If let's say, I always say never, but. I don't have that, I don't know how maybe, or because I don't like the guru status, so to speak. You know, everybody that's, some people have given me advice that, oh, you start to build your guru status and everything, but I don't like it. I guess I become certain authority in some way, but I don't want to push it. I want it to be natural, you know, because other people have so many good ideas and then I have to be kind of right about everything.
Yeah, that's right.
And then it kind of bothers me because I know what I'm good at and I know when I have to shut up mostly and sometimes I don't. But yeah, so that was a joke. So, you know, so I don't think I'm going to try to do some Priit Jitsu association you can join. And I just, I like that people want to work with me. And that's, I would be enough, you know, and they're investing in me and I return the favor and I do my thing. But I don't see it. But it's also like if somebody else wants to do it for me, you know?
Right.
Like if I find a partner, it makes sense, you know? And let's say people have asked like, why don't you do your own DVDs, you know? And you would make, you know, let's say way more money. But then I would have to have customer service.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, advertisement, everything. I have to do so many things. And you can go like you did, you know, you learn a skill, you know, you figure it out. And that will be one way, but it's too much. It will interfere whatever I do now.
Right.
And already it takes so much time of mine.
Do you think you could? Do you think you could keep coming up with like original stuff? Like how is this going to look in 2 years when everybody?
I don't know.
When everybody keeps playing your game, everybody knows what you're doing. Because there's always like this. Like Marcelo showed up at the Worlds and beat everyone with the X card, and then everybody knows the X card.
It's a good question because I didn't know that I will come up with original idea anyway.
Yeah.
So that seems to be like, okay, this elbows close and this moving around seems to be a great idea. And, you know, defensively. But what happens 2 years ago, I have no clue what it will be.
Right.
So I kind of like it, like, you know, in similar way, I when I find those things, I always, like, you have said so many things, like, I don't know what let's say, what the Globetrotter will be.
Yeah.
It kind of worries me sometimes, like I'm affiliated with things that I don't know where it goes. It's like kind of worried, but I also like the openness, you know.
Yeah.
It can be whatever it be, and
I think it's also about being honest, you know, in a way that.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean it goes to shit, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Because people work together, and usually it comes wonderful, you know.
Yeah.
But just people like that security.
Right.
You know, like it has to. I will make it, you know. That, and then I'm calm. No, it's uncertainty that drives people nuts. So if somebody asks what's next. And what's the next innovation or something? I was like, I don't know. I'm actually scared that little bit that I will run out of ideas.
Right.
And I run, I don't know if it's a bad thing even. You know.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't want to live that life anymore. After 5 years, I'm done.
Yeah.
You know. And then I do something else. Who knows? So I stopped worrying about it. But also all this, you know, DVD then everything kind of helped, and produce income, so to speak. And we're gonna make, you know, more DVDs, and so probably maybe I will step back a little bit, and but innovation in that sense just keeps happening.
Right.
And because those ideas came from somewhere, those pandas and turtles, so it was cooking a long time ago, you know, and then probably some new ideas can build on those ideas, you know. because again, kind of like I feel like we're like a, I don't know, bromancing here, but because the way you put it, because I really liked your presentation, because the way you said it, you couldn't do many things before a Globetrotter engine happened.
Yeah.
So I kind of thought about what I do, because I needed, let's say, the jiu-jitsu engine to happen for me.
Yeah.
Or even, let's say, you can go narrower, like technically.
Yeah.
Like all these pandas and stuff, and there's now the engine that people like, and because of that engine, what I do, I can do many other things.
Yes.
So what comes after that? This engine allows me to do new projects.
Exactly. So the focus is not so much on like coming up with new stuff, but keep like building that vehicle to make things possible.
So I guess investing and traveling still, and this builds up something, and perfecting that panda, turtle, whatever the engine is, and people keep more interested in, because they keep friendly, I would say, not bad way, keep challenging me and me to prove it. And I'm still able to prove it. So this engine keeps perfecting itself, and in some point it allows me to do something else. Allows me to maybe do some other seminars, and maybe some kind of weird say that, but maybe somebody like some, let's say, famous name picks it up,
right?
And you go starts to use it, So this engine that I'm actually can, maybe I fight somebody with a good skill, and they go oh, what the fuck is that? So me actually practicing that in a Globetrotter camp and refining this against good guys here will help me to have something in the future maybe. So I don't know what's gonna happen. So I guess I'm thinking about the future, because I have to secure my future in some way. But I'm also trying to live more in the present, and I don't know, just not consciously building the engine, but just doing what I have to do, what I'm good at, and stepping one step before the other, and just and it seems to work, so to speak. And also I like when John Kavanagh kind of said many years ago that if he does everyday things right, step by step, future will take care of itself.
Yeah. No, that's very true.
Yeah, and you can't just think about what's will future bring. You will make it.
Yeah.
So if you act and the way you act every day, and what you invest and everything, so the future will take care of. So I really like that, and it kind of gives me a peace of mind. So I try to do the right things or something. It doesn't always work out, and then the future will happen. So it's kind of what you do in present. So that gives me strength.
Right.
It's not like I don't control the future. I actually do. So, and that's very empowering in that sense. And also the more older I get, I learn to accept that I couldn't know what future I would deserve. So I would think in my mind right now, then the stuff I know now, I would want that future. But maybe in a year I know something more, and the future is different. So I kind of stopped projecting to the future, because I don't know what's actually good for me in the future. So just do whatever you want in the present, be passionate, and do everything that's in your power,
right.
And then you get the future kind of you deserve. So it's really actually